when it looked like the Lubomir Visnovsky situation would leave the Islanders short of defensemen as they head into the abridged 2013 season, then the Islanders started their Defenseman a Day program. It started off by bringing back old Islander friend Radek Martinek after a year out in the western version of Islanders wilderness known as the Columbus Blue Jackets. Martinek had an awful year away from the Isles with basically 2 concussions within 6 months, and he only saw a handful of games before being shut down for the entire season last year. Martinek was a bit of insurance while the Islanders were figuring out whether Visnovsky would report, but then the NHL waiver wire kicked in. Fortunately for the Isles, they have a high selection order in that process, and they were able to pick up new defensemen on 2 consecutive days. It started off with Joe Finley, who never made it with the Capitals, but did see 5 NHL games with Buffalo last year. Finley's a huge defenseman, about 6'8", 250 pounds, and he's a bit of a brawler. He's tried to hone his game in recent years to become something of a sort of safe, steady defenseman that might translate into a third pair guy in the NHL. Not a lot of promising prospect there, but a project that could work out, could pay off, and would at least be depth for Bridgeport. Then the next day brought a higher potential bonus in the waiver claim of Los Angeles Kings defensive prospect Thomas Hickey. Like Finley, Hickey's a former first-round draft pick, 4th overall actually, but things never worked out for him. He had some injuries after he starred with Canada in the WJC on 2 consecutive gold medal winning squads, but he was always passed by in the Kings organization thanks to his skill set and thanks to those injuries. So for Hickey, it represents a fresh start, and for the Islanders, that means they've added 3 defensemen who, while not stars or potential stars by any means, provide depth that they didn't have just a week ago. That adds to the group that already had Mark Streit, Travis Hamonic, and Andrew McDonald, of course, and then also the offseason signing of Matt Karkner. You look at the combination of all of those, and then add John Landry, who's kind of a feel-good story, trying to make his NHL debut. And you basically have the familiar top 3 defensemen for the Isles, and then a pretty varied skill set and group of guys who could sort of fill out the bottom pair and or complement the second pair, depending on who that is left over from the top 3. It's funny, the NHL is back, and that's how quickly things can change around a roster like this, especially during waiver wire season. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't bet on any single one of these new guys making a big impact this year, but the odds are one of them will kind of surprise us, and the odds are the Islanders will have to lean on them as well as the prospects who are left behind in Bridgeport, including Matt Donovan and Aaron Ness, as this 48-game season gets underway Saturday against the Devils. I'm Dominic Jansky. Look for all kinds of coverage as the season gets underway with the New York Islanders at LighthouseHockey.com and on this SB Nation's YouTube channel.